We're seeing new video showing the chaotic moments protesters and federal agents clashed across Los Angeles.
It marked the second day in a row of unrest as ICE raids continue. Explosive flashbangs and clouds of tear gas filled downtown LA last night as police declared an unlawful assembly. There also appears to be some looting at a convenience store in Compton. LAPD says they detained several people and eventually arrested 27.
And this comes as the National Guard troops that President Trump ordered have started to arrive.
Eyewitness News reporter Amanda Palacios joins us live from downtown Los Angeles with the breaking update. Amanda.
Good morning. Yeah, we've already seen a large growing National Guard presence here in downtown LA. If you take a look behind me here, you can see troops are stationed along Alameda Street as another protest is expected to take place later today near City Hall.
You told me you got caught up in the tear gas as well. Describe what happened to you.
Oh, just tasted a little tear gas. Tasted like fascism.
Avelo Airlines says it has signed a long-term deal with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It's one of a small number of airlines cashing in on the multi-million-dollar business of deportation flights. Reporter Sean Rice explains.
It's $100 million a year that they are probably paying for this, and it just seems like the public deserves the right to know.
Deportation flights. It's a big money business.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel here. It's me here, Comrade Lavender here, and today I'm back with another anti-capitalism deep dive YouTube video topic. Today I want to do the deep dive true crime topic of Pure Evil, the United States ICE Detention Centers Files Part 2. This is Part 2 of my video series on this topic. I have a Part 1 that I'm going to be linking, not linking, but putting it on the screen right now. So yeah, deep dive, capitalism, true crime, capitalism atrocities, billion-dollar companies profiting from this. So yeah, before we get started, all my YouTube videos that relate to this topic right now, including my part 1 of this Pure Evil, the United States ICE Detention Center Files series video is going to be posted right now on the screen, along with my other YouTube videos that are related to this topic. If you'd like to check my other YouTube topics that are related to this topic right now, that are on my YouTube channel, if you want to check them out, they're going to be on the screen right now. So let's get started on this YouTube video topic.
The largest indigenous tribe in the U.S. says it's received concerning reports from its own people about immigration enforcement. A statement released Friday from the Navajo Nation president reads, quote, "My office has received multiple reports from Navajo citizens that they have had negative and sometimes traumatizing experiences with federal agents targeting undocumented immigrants in the Southwest." The statement goes on to say, quote, "We encourage individuals to remain calm and assured that our collaborative efforts with local, state, and federal law enforcement are ongoing to ensure community safety." Crystalline Curley joins us now from Window Rock, Arizona. She's the speaker of the Navajo Nation Council. Crystalline, thank you for being here. What are you hearing from Navajo citizens about their interactions with officers?
So we started getting reports as of last week from many of our Navajo individuals who live in metropolitan areas of Phoenix, Albuquerque, Los Angeles, Florida, Chicago, New York, and many of our Navajo people do live off the Navajo Nation. So we've been getting reports that many of them have been visited at their place of residence or their workplaces, being asked for identification or being racially stereotyped by ICE or law enforcement.
So do you get the sense that community members are being targeted, or are they essentially, we were hearing from Camila Montoya Galvez, our immigration reporter, that police are also making collateral stops or collateral arrests, meaning as they're looking for other people, they're stopping a wide range of people. What is the sense that you're getting of what's going on?
We're getting a mixture of different issues. First, going back to the validity of our certificate of Indian blood, and if we're really tribal members with valid IDs. And there's also instances where many of our people are frustrated that they're being racially profiled. So there's numerous factors that we're dealing with right now.
A new Department of Homeland Security report suggests the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE, cannot account for tens of thousands of unaccompanied minors. The report from the DHS Inspector General notes a number of issues, effectively blaming ICE for losing track of children who arrive alone at the border. Let's bring in border correspondent Allie Bradley, who is live for us in Del Rio, Texas. Allie, break down more of this report for us.
Yeah, hey, Nicole, it's a pretty alarming report that found that at least 32,000 unaccompanied children never showed up for their court dates between 2019 and 2023. And nearly 300,000 of these kids that came across the southern border alone never even got a court date whatsoever.
Private airlines are making billions of dollars on deportations. A new GOP spending bill includes a $485 million budget hike for immigration and customs enforcement that likely represents a windfall for the many private vendors profiting from the Trump administration's ongoing immigration crackdown, including the shadowy aviation contractor industry carrying out ICE's deportation flights. ICE uses private air charter companies, in some cases the same as those that ferry professional sports teams across the country, to carry out its deportations at an extremely high cost and rate. The 3 flights that carried migrants to El Salvador, despite a judge ordering the planes to turn back, likely cost the government upward of $8,000 per hour per aircraft. At the center of this business, as reported from the Project on Government Oversight revealed, is a New Mexico firm that has donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to President Donald Trump, and GOP super PACs, CSI Aviation. Last year, the company won a $3.6 billion contract for the flights, although its main competitor, CIA-linked Classic Air Charter, says it was cheated out of the award and is challenging the decision in court. Another subcontractors profiting off the mass deportation program include GEO Transit, a subsidiary of GEO Group, the world's largest private prison company, and another key Trump donor, as well as Global X, the airline behind the recent flights to El Salvador, which has recently been mired in allegations of mistreating migrants on its planes. Global X executives said the company expects $65 million a year in revenue from its ICE contract. The billions that private companies are making from flights throw into sharp relief of the profiteering behind ICE's deportation regime, where private air charter companies bring in enormous capitalism profits, deporting immigrants with little oversight. Trump's anti-immigration raids have repeatedly impacted many legal residents, including indigenous populations. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE agents have racially profiled many indigenous and Alaska natives, confusing indigenous as immigrants and detaining them during raids. Given that the United States land was forcibly taken from its original inhabitants, often through colonization, genocide, racism, etc., unfair treaties, and land theft, no one should be considered illegal on stolen land. No one should be defined in the terms of their immigration status, nor should they be dehumanized as an illegal. For the nation formed through land theft and unsanctioned settler migration, it is hypocritical for government officials to enforce deportation policy against vulnerable community members. Between 2015 and 2020, ICE arrested 674 potential U.S. citizens, detained 121 of them, and deported 70 of these individuals. There are far too many instances of United States citizens being held by federal immigration custody authorities for prolonged periods despite their attempts to prove their citizenship status. Studies have shown that agencies like ICE have a history of racism and racial profiling people, therefore targeting people of color. Furthermore, immigration courts do not have a guaranteed right to counsel, meaning the United States citizens could potentially find themselves alone in trying to prove their citizenship status. Trump's immigration policies are disproportionately harming people of color. It's not just a recently naturalized U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents who are getting caught in the administration's hate-mongering. Native indigenous tribes across the United States are responding to reports of indigenous people being racially profiled because they are brown, stopped, questioned, and mistakenly detained by federal agents targeting undocumented immigrants as part of the Trump administration's sweeping immigration crackdown plan. The Navajo Nation president, Burr Negron, said in a January 24th news release his office has received multiple reports from Navajo Nation citizens that have had negative and sometimes traumatizing experiences with federal agents from the government targeting undocumented immigrants in the Southwest. We now know that Native people, they've had people, enrolled members of tribes are being detained in Phoenix, Arizona, and other cities by ICE. Navajo Nation Council Speaker Crystalline Curley said following the rising reports of other citizens being harassed and detained by agents of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, Native nations and Native leaders from across Turtle Island have been working diligently to ensure their citizens' safety, while more Native nations have been working towards enhanced tribal identification cards. The vast majority of tribal enrollment identification cards aren't recognized by the federal government, which leaves indigenous people and the population vulnerable during encounters with these fascist ICE agents. Trump's ICE thugs plow into protesters again, many injured. Fascist deportation force carrying out racist arrests met resistance, again used violence with vehicles against peaceful protesters for a second day in a row. The descent of the United States into full-on fascism under Donald Trump has begun to meet resistance from the streets of Los Angeles, but Trump's paramilitary immigration and customs and enforcement ICE agents, reported on occasion to include many far-right military men, have responded with brutality towards protesters and resistors. Yesterday, one protester was run over by an unmarked ICE vehicle trying to prevent another abduction of members of their community, with vehicles then fleeing the scene, leaving the injured man unattended in the road. And today, according to multiple reports summarized by political commentator John O. Conley, ICE vehicles rammed a whole crowd of protesters and passerbys, leaving many injured in their wake. People, many of them citizens or legal immigrants, have been abducted by supposed ICE agents off the street or from their homes, often without any kind of warrant, and often spirited away to unknown out-of-state detention facilities or out of the country altogether, frequently despite courts ordering them not to do so. Multiple ICE impersonation arrests being made during nationwide immigration crackdown. Authorities in at least 3 states have arrested individuals allegedly impersonating ICE immigration authorities and officers at a time where real ICE agents have ramped up immigration enforcement under efforts by the Trump administration, adding to existing fears of law enforcement among migrant communities. In South Carolina, Steen Michael Johnston, 33 years old, was charged with kidnapping and impersonating a police officer after allegedly detaining a group of Latino men along a Charleston country road. Johnson is accused of willfully and unlawfully presenting himself as an ICE agent and for falsely detaining a vehicle of individuals from moving. According to the court records, "You all got caught," Johnson is heard saying on video. "Where are you from? Mexico? You from Mexico? You're going back to Mexico." In the video, Johnson is seen taking the driver's keys, mocking the driver's accent, while jiggling the car keys in his face. At one point in time, he is seen trying to take the driver's phone. The driver calls a friend speaking Spanish and says, "I don't know, man." He's saying immigration. "Now don't be speaking that pig Latin in my fucking country," Johnson says, knocking the phone out of his hand. "He's crazy. He's a racist man." One of the passengers in the vehicle, another victim, can be heard saying in Spanish. A South Carolina man was charged with posing as a fake immigration agent at a traffic stop. The man, identified as Steen Michael Johnston, detained a group of Latino men in a vehicle and took away their keys so they couldn't drive home. Johnson was charged with 3 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of impersonating a law enforcement officer, petty larceny, assault, and battery, according to jail records. The ICE impersonation cases come as President Donald Trump has quickly mobilized once again the federal government to arrest, detain undocumented immigrants in the United States, part of a broader strategy to amass a large enforcement machine. In another impersonation case in Philadelphia, police charged a Temple University student in connection with the alleged impersonation of ICE officers on campus. The incident, which occurred Saturday night, involved 3 individuals, 2 wearing shirts with the words police and ICE in white lettering, attempting to enter a residence hall on campus. Temple University said in a statement, "Man accused of impersonating ICE officers sexually harassing woman at Raleigh Motel. Man allegedly threatened to deport woman if she did not have sex with him." Under the Trump administration, federal immigration authorities are now permitted to arrest people and carry out enforcement actions in and near places such as churches and schools, marking a departure from long-standing policy to avoid so-called sensitive areas. Hernandez said the shift in policy not only threatens public safety, but also discourages people who need help from law enforcement or healthcare providers to seek it out. 4-year-old Bakersfield girl facing deportation could die within days of losing medical care. In 2023, a Mexican girl living in Mexico with a life-threatening medical condition was allowed to enter the United States legally on humanitarian grounds. The Trump administration has now ordered the girl and her parents to deport themselves and to leave the country. One of the girl's physicians said that if her treatment is interrupted, this could be fatal within a matter of days. The girl was a year delayed because she had spent most of her short life in a hospital in Mexico, tethered to feeding tubes 24 hours a day. She has short bowel syndrome, a rare condition that prevents her body from completely absorbing the nutrients of regular food. Fragas and her husband were desperate to get their daughter the help she needs and better medical care.
Was earlier this morning apparently a raid by ICE here at a business called Ambiance. Then a crowd started forming outside the perimeter. They started actually surrounding these buildings.
We have a piece of video. You can see that they've gotten the people and they put them in these vans. It was a very strange sight to see because they started to leave and there were people who were protesting trying to keep these vans from getting out. And the video seen here is deeply troubling because these officers, look, there's that person in front, and the officers did not stop, these agents or whatever federal authorities they were, and notice how this person continued to stay in front, and the officer did not slow. No officer came out and tried to get this out, and then watch as the person in front falls and hits his head on the ground, and that just seemed like it was an injury, but then these agents then moved aside and then immediately took off, and we watched these agents almost as if it was a chase. They got together in the caravan, and we watched as those agencies or those 3 vans went to the Roybal federal building where they took the people that they had detained. And that was the second caravan that had gone there.
In 2023, they received temporary humanitarian permission to enter the United States legally through Tijuana. Now in Bakersfield, the family received notice last month that their legal status has been taken away and terminated. The letter warned them, "This is your best interest to deport now and leave the United States of your own accord." And if she leaves the United States, she could literally pass away from the condition that she has. That is the definition of fascism. There's no, empathy at all. ICE deported 3 children who are United States citizens. Their families, lawyers say, immigration and customs enforcement officers have in recent days deported a Cuban-born mother of a 1-year-old girl, separating them indefinitely, and 3 children ages 2, 4, and 7 who are United States citizens, along with their Honduran-born mothers, their lawyer said Saturday. "We have no idea what ICE was telling them, and in this case, what has come to light is that ICE didn't give them another alternative." Willen said in an interview they didn't give them a choice, that these mothers only had the option to take their children with them, despite loving caregivers being available to keep them here. The 4-year-old who was suffering from a rare form of cancer and the 7-year-old were deported to Honduras within a day of being arrested with their mother. In the case involving the 2-year-old, a federal judge in Louisiana raised questions about the deportation of a girl, saying the government did not prove it had done so properly. Lawyers for the girl's father insisted that he wanted the girl to remain with him in the United States, while ICE contended that the mother had wanted the girl to be deported with her to Honduras. There is also the issue of disappearing children under the government's watchful eye. Where are these children? Are they being human trafficked? Where are they? United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials are unable to effectively monitor more than 600,000 children who cross the southern border unaccompanied by a guardian since 2019, according to a new report from the Department of Homeland Security's Office Inspector General. The report said that hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied migrant children entered the country and were transferred from ICE to the Department of Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. Of those children, however, 233,000 have not been served notices to appear in immigration court by ICE. As a report of last October, more than 43,000 unaccompanied children who were served with court orders did not show up for the scheduled dates. In addition, 31,000 of those who were released to sponsors had release forms that did not include addresses, had missing apartment numbers, or were undeliverable, the Inspector General's office said in its report. San Diego lawmakers demand federal investigation into ICE raid at local restaurants. The operation has sparked massive outrage over what critics describe as an excessive and theatrical performance and enforcement tactics, demanding an investigation into the use of force, legal compliance, and community impact of the raid. The lawmakers cited the reports that approximately 20 ICE agents in military-style gear entered the restaurants during peak dining hours, deploying flashbang grenades and detaining 4 employees. Witnesses say the raid caused panic among the customers and staff and the patrons, and lawmakers pointed to other ICE actions, including a raid at a Los Angeles nightclub and an arrest in Massachusetts where ICE agents smashed the car window to detain a Guatemalan man, as part of what they describe as a trend of high-profile, aggressive tactics targeting immigrant communities. The Trump administration has pledged to carry out the largest mass deportation in United States history and has conducted numerous ICE raids, some of which swept up individuals with proper documentation. Earlier this week, protests erupted over claims that detainees were being held in the basement of a federal building, allegations ICE have denied. Some protesters have thrown rocks at law enforcement vehicles with one allegedly throwing a cocktail as well as burning items in the street. Agents have used tear gas on the crowds. President Donald Trump announced the deployment of 2,000 National Guards to quell the protests. California Governor Gavin Newsom criticized the move, saying local law enforcement was already mobilized and the presence of the National Guard was purposely inflammatory and would escalate tensions and erode public trust.